Move your assemblage point with the Toltec method of stalking. Coming up on this episode of All Things Perceptual. The following passages from the book The Teachings of Don Carlos by Victor Sanchez contain a few of his tips on stalking and the practical applications from the works of Carlos Castaneda. In The Fire from Within, Don Juan tells us that the internal dialogue itself, together with everyday conduct, is what keeps the assemblage point fixed in one place. Then, any unusual conduct, if practiced continuously and systematically, tends to move it out of its habitual position. While it is true that there are many ways to move the assemblage point, it is also true that many of them can put our mental health in danger, since we are already disposed to believe that the reality we perceive is the one true reality. Stalking implies a systematic control of our conduct, allowing a slow and harmonious movement of the assemblage point. We are thus assured that any contact with the unknown will be carried out with sobriety and efficiency. Working with appearances is just one technique of stalking, one that can be as fun as it can be devastating. It has to do with artistic creation in the most authentic sense. It deals to a certain extent with the art of the actor, as well as the art of disguise. The principal characteristic of this technique, in which you disguise yourself and/or act like someone completely different from your everyday self, is not only to convince the spectators, but also to convince yourself, to such a degree that the force of your conviction is transmitted to the spectators. This is a modification of perception, a movement of the assemblage point. Carried to its extreme, the art of pure acting is the art of the sorcerer and the nagual, the art of transformation. What do sorcerers experience when converting into crows and flying away? In principle, they feel as though they fly, feel themselves crows, seeing and experiencing the world as such. Their secret is that they are capable of modifying their perceptions to match that of a crow, modifying the position of their assemblage point. Their knowledge of sorcery, their conviction, and their years of work allow them to achieve it. But now we have a question, one that Castaneda put to Don Juan long ago. What would a spectator see? An average spectator would probably just see a sleeping person, and might think him or her drunk or intoxicated. But a spectator in a state of non-ordinary awareness, or one observing a sorcerer of extraordinary power, one who could force, with the power of his conviction, the movement of the spectator's assemblage point, surely would see a miracle, a person transformed into a crow and flying away. And Castaneda asks the question again, was that real what I felt? To which Don Juan replies, there is no reality other than that which you felt. Reality is a feeling. True acting functions as a doorway to the other self, to the experience outside the ego, a quality which by itself would make this a practice worthy of exploration. When you convert yourself into a personage, when you are capable of moving your perception to become its living expression, your former ego is revealed in its true dimensions, and your old life as well. You realize that the ego, and the world in which you once believed you were trapped, was only a mirage, just one more character in one more play, with actors who had forgotten that they were acting on a stage. This is significant, especially when the play you portray is one of pain or boredom. To sum it up, stalking is basically changing your behavior on purpose in order to move your assemblage point. One practical exercise from the book The Teachings of Don Carlos that you can put to good use is called Actor for a Few Days. This technique can help a great deal to diminish self-importance, to erase personal history, and to view your everyday life from another perspective. It consists of the following steps. First, you must choose or create a character with very well-defined traits, preferably one with characteristics diametrically opposed to your own. Take time to study the character thoroughly in order to know all the details. You have to determine how he or she thinks, feels, talks, dresses, moves, and so forth. Next, prepare your character's entry into the world. Obtain the proper clothing, and begin practicing personal manifestations in private. Attitudes, vocabulary, interests, activities, and so forth. Then go public and interact disguised as your character. You must remain active, go out, converse, visit places, work, according to the role you are playing. It requires a minimum of discipline in order not to slip back into your everyday self. The key is to convince yourself of the role. Feel it intimately, and think as the character would. Make it a real person. Try this stalking exercise and see if you can move your assemblage point. For more information about the assemblage point and stalking, check out the book, The Teachings of Don Carlos by Victor Sanchez. Thanks for watching and see you next time.